Hello and welcome to another video from Finally Got Around To, a good place for video game news, reviews, and editorials. Today, I want to talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart, free demos on Steam. I love demos because not only is it a great opportunity to try out a game and see if it's for you, but also they are free. Generally, I don't know if I've actually heard of a paid demo before, but there's so many great short experiences on Steam right now that you could try out for free, and that's really cool. And even if you don't end up buying the game, maybe for whatever reason you don't have the cash at the moment, but you still at least could try out a little bit of the game, which is pretty cool. And I think all games should do this. Maybe there are some exceptions, but I think a lot of games, I think demos are a great idea. And so I wanted to share some of my favorite demos that I've played recently with you guys. So first on the list is building relationships. This is a kind of strange, odd, almost adventure dating sim game by Tanant Games, and I actually recently had a very fun interview with the developer of this game. So if you want to read that, I'll link to that down below, or you can go check it out on my website, finallygotaroundto.com. But yeah, as you can see, this is a very odd game. It's got a fishing mini game where the fish are actually cars, and then of course you go running around this island and you have conversations with various other buildings, like this windmill and this tent, and there's other funny things, like you're as a building. You may have seen it earlier, and there it is. You basically just tumble around because you're a building, you don't have legs, but you can climb up rock walls, you can wave dash around. The developer actually said that dashing movement was inspired by Celeste, which was kind of a surprise to hear, that that game could influence this game in some way. So yeah, probably one of the strangest demos on this list, probably maybe even one of the strangest games I've ever even heard of. But the demo is free on Steam right now, and you can get a good, I think it took me maybe half an hour to complete the demo, but you can hang out in there even longer. You can play the fishing game and all kinds of stuff and explore. So I recommend checking it out, at least to get a sense of what this all is and what it's like to be in a game where you play as a building trying to flirt with other buildings. It's really creative, really clever, and I highly recommend it. Moving on to the next one. I want to talk about a game called Arco. This I think it's a team of 4 different developers, but being published by Panic, which is also the studio. I don't know if you call publishers studios, but Panic also published popular indie games like Untitled Goose Game, and there was a few others that I can't think of right now, but yeah, I've only just started to get into the beginning of this game, but what really caught me right away was the amazing pixel art. Look at these environments. It's so small and simple, but it's amazing. I mean, the characters, I guess, are kind of small and simple, but the landscapes and the backgrounds are so vast, but so well done in this pixel art style. It was just hard for me to. As soon as I saw this, I was immediately enraptured, and then once I started learning about the kind of almost like turn-based but real-time combat, where you can kind of see what the enemies are going to do, and then you kind of, when you choose what you're going to do, and then it all happens at once. So it's kind of a weird little unique original combat thing that I haven't really seen before, and so far it's really, really been catching my attention. The demo, I believe you can play for up to 3 hours of the game, and so that's pretty long, maybe one of the longer of the demos that I'm going to put on this list today. And yeah, it's pretty convincing to me. This is a really exciting looking game, and it's maybe one of the only there's one other game on this list that is out now, but this is one of those games that is out now. You could buy the whole game if you're caught by the demo, but hey, why not try the demo? It's free. But yeah, this looks like a really cool game, and I'm definitely going to be checking it out, because this, like, the combination of this art style and the very original, like, turn-based combat system was really fun. Oh, also, and the conversations. You can actually, the conversations you have with people, the decisions you make actually impact the game, which is, like, of all the, like, it feels like, okay, like, you already sold me, you don't need to sell me more, like, so yeah, I'm very curious to check this out. It's also like a very, like, Western almost, but also it's got like fantasy elements in it too, so it just seems like it's like they almost made this game for me, which is just really cool. I'm definitely checking it out, and I recommend you do too. Moving on to the next one. This is Wild Bastards by Blue Manchu, the same makers of Void Bastards, which was a popular indie game a little while ago. Typically not really one that plays. I am typically not the kind of person that plays first-person shooters, but this one really caught my attention because of the, like, eclectic cast of characters you can play as that all have different play styles, weapons, and abilities, and it's kind of like a outlaw roguelike-ish kind of thing. Like, you, instead of like playing as in first person, moving from place to place, you kind of like are moving along a map, and each point on the map is like a little hub that you then have to fight your way through, and you're being chased by all these people that are trying to, you know, collect, like, you're like a gang of outlaws and they're trying to arrest all of you. And it seems the demo was really fun. So if this seems interesting to you, I recommend you try the demo too. So when you go down to the worlds, you basically pick a couple different outlaws to be on your team, and then while you're in the gunfights, you can swap between those characters at like a moment's notice. So it's very, it's kind of a fun little strategical element where if you're up against some enemies that are trying to shoot you from far away, you might want to bring out your character that has a rifle that can shoot long distance. But if you're getting into close combat, then maybe you want to pull out somebody with a shotgun that's much better in close range, and then, you know, you're going to be unlocking all different kinds of abilities and power-ups and finding resources and all that stuff as you explore the map. And then there's also questions like, do I want to explore this part of the map and find some treasure, but maybe my enemies will kind of get a little closer to me, maybe catch up to me if I take this detour, or should I just head straight to the ship and get out of here? And then, so usually what gets me into a first-person shooter was like when Overwatch originally came out, having a cool cast of characters that you can pick from that are unique and have different strategies and play styles. So that's mainly what I'm interested in about this game. This game is not out yet, but the demo is still on there. And that's the other thing I should mention. I don't know exactly how long all these demos are going to be available for. Like, I played this demo a while back. I think it came out for Steam Next Fest or something, or maybe something else. Yeah, maybe it was the summer Steam Next Fest, and then it was gone for a little while, but then now it's back. So I don't know how long it's going to stick around. So if any of these demos are interesting to you, I recommend getting on Steam and trying them out as soon as you can, because I can't guarantee that they're going to be here even, you know, the day after I upload this video. Hopefully they're all still around the day I actually upload this video. But anyway, I'll move on to the next one. And actually, funny that I mentioned this, because I think this demo for Constance, which is by BTF, is the developer of this. Really great game. I had a lot of fun playing this demo. but this is the one that makes me, I'm not too sure how long this one's going to be around. It might not last very long by the time I post or upload this video. So if this one looks interesting to you, I really recommend checking it out. It's kind of a Metroidvania platformer, but with some kind of dodgy combat. But the kind of what caught my eye was that the design of this character, who has like kind of like liquidy paint hair, and then also wields a paintbrush as a weapon. So there's like painting involved in the gameplay, and whenever she dodges, she kind of becomes a blob of paint to kind of like skirt by whatever the issue is. And yeah, it caught my eye, and I decided to try the demo, and then had a really great time with the demo. It gets very complex, and the platforming gets pretty intense. And I wouldn't say I'm the best platformer around, but it definitely had some moments of where I was trying the same thing again and again and again and again, and I had to stop, put the game down for a little bit. So maybe if you're kind of like me as a player, that this demo might give you a little bit of a challenge, and so maybe that's what you're looking for. But maybe you're an impressive platformer gamer, and it's not going to be a challenge for you. I don't know your life, but I highly recommend checking this out, and the sooner the better, because I don't know how long the demo's still going to be out there. So yeah, recommend that. Moving on to actually one of my favorite games of the year. I have actually bought the full game and played this. This is Dicefolk from Leap Game Studios and Tiny Ghoul. It's kind of a tactical turn-based creature collector, but also with dice, kind of like almost like a deck building, but rather than cards, it's dice. And so it's kind of hard to explain everything. It's also a roguelike. There's so many different tags and genres that you can tag onto this game. So you're exploring a map, finding different things. So basically the premise of the game, you are a dice folk. You use these magical dice to control chimeras, which are these little beasts that you can find in the world. At each level, you can find different chimeras and recruit them to your team, but on each of the 3 stages, you can only recruit one. So by the end, you have a team of 3, theoretically, and you kind of use those 3 in a rotational battle. So it's a lot of fun. As you can tell, I get a little overwhelmed when I'm trying to explain this game. But basically, you have different sides of the dice, like rotate, attack, defend, that kind of stuff. And then you also roll dice for your opponents, and the only way you can move on to the next turn of the battle is by using all of your opponent's dice. So basically, when the turn starts, you know what your opponent is going to do. You just have to plan accordingly. So if you know that your opponent has a big attack coming, then you want to make sure that your chimera with the most HP is going to be the one taking the brunt of the damage. Or maybe there's some way you can, give yourself a shield to block that attack. And then, it's all about strategy, and turn order is kind of the most important thing. But unlocking all the different chimeras and trying them out is really fun, and it's really great when you get 3 chimeras that have a lot of synergy and all that good stuff. I think I put 3 hours into the demo of this game before I bought the full game, and that's the nice thing about this particular demo is that in theory the gameplay can be a little bit endless. You just have to be okay with being a little bit limited in what you can actually unlock, because the demo doesn't give you full access to everything in the game, but it does give you enough to kind of have a lot of replayability, which is pretty great. This one also came out for the Switch later. It came out in February, and then later in the year came out on the Switch, and that was like the nail in my coffin for this year. I think I've put like over 20 hours into this already across both platforms. But anyway, I feel like I've been talking about this one for a long time, so let's move on to the next one. Only a couple games left on my list, but up next is a game called Fowl Damage, spelled Fowl. This is by May Gardens and Red Nexus Games. I got to play this at Summer Game Fest, not exactly Summer Game Fest, but the Mix Showcase and the Guerrilla Collective Showcase that was happening around Summer Game Fest. Basically, as you can see, you play as a little egg, and it's a precision platformer, but basically the gimmick is that because you're this fragile little egg, your jump is high enough that if you fall and land, it'll crack you, and you'll have to start over. So basically you have to figure out a path through the level that when you jump, you're not falling all the way down. So you kind of have to really, really think about where you're jumping and landing to, and all that stuff. And it can get very complex really quick, and you have to be very. There's a lot of moments where you have to really think on your feet, and there's definitely lots of moments where I had to retry multiple times because you know what they say about making an omelet. But it's a very creative little simple platformer that is a lot of fun, and takes the mechanics and the gimmick about as far as it can go. The demo only took me, I think, a little under an hour to complete, but it was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to when this game completely releases sometime in the future. I mean, it's not very realistic, of course, but putting that little face on the egg was such a nice touch, I gotta say. So, yeah, I recommend checking out this demo. Up next, another game I actually got to try at Summer Game Fest. This was a Day of the Devs selection. Was While Waiting, which is from developer Optilusion. Now, this is a very unique game. It's called While Waiting, and that's really what it is. Like, you can complete this game by doing nothing, literally just sitting and waiting. But each of these little scenarios that kind of chronologically go through the protagonist's life from childhood to adulthood, each scenario is just waiting for something, and then there's various little tasks that you can optionally complete or not. You only have so much time, so you might not be able to get to everything. But yeah, I thought it was a really creative concept that, like, you don't have to do something to progress or to beat the game. You basically just wait. And if you're patient enough, you can just wait, or if you just want to explore stuff, you can. And it's a very goofy sense of humor as well, and lots of little things to find and explore, and little Easter eggs and stuff like that. Yeah, and so I think the demo only has, I want to say, like 10 scenarios or so that you can explore, but as the trailer explained, there's going to be over like 100 various situations to wait through. But yeah, I think it's a really cute and creative concept, like, of a game where you don't have to actually do anything to succeed, but you can if you want. And I like that energy. So let's move on to the final one, which I have actually already talked about a little bit on the channel, and it is Beastieball from Wishes Unlimited. This is a creature collector volleyball game. So you basically build a team of little beasties, and you are their coach. You play Beastieball, which is basically like a fantasy version of volleyball, where it's 2v2. You're bouncing a ball back and forth. So each beastie has a certain amount of HP. Every time they receive the ball, they take a little bit, and if you completely wipe them out, then you win that point. Or if you are able to hit their side of the field without any of the beasties receiving it or returning it, then you also win that point. And I think most of the games are first to 2 points. So it's not like the games go on for super long, but yeah, lots of really amazingly designed sprites for these little beasties, and I actually got to play in the playtest, which you might be able to sign up for. I don't think you can actually sign up for it now, but there is another playtest planned for later this year, so keep an eye out for that. I'll probably post an update or something if that comes out. But you can sign up to basically play through like the first several hours of the game in the playtest, so I recommend that. But anyway, the demo is also there, which gives you the first hour or so of the game. What really caught me about this game, aside from all the adorable creatures you can find, was how much actual strategy kind of goes into the Beastieball or volleyball part of the game. You have so many different abilities and styles that each beastie can use. You can, when you're on the front row, I think you usually take a little more damage from receiving the ball, but you can also block to reduce damage if you're in the front row. There are different styles of shots, ones that hit vertically and ones that hit horizontally across the two. So there's the 4 quadrants. You can hit one vertically across 2 quadrants or horizontally across 2 quadrants. And if there's nobody in those spaces, then you can win the point that way. So there are different ways to like kind of like taunt or move the opposing players to different areas and kind of set yourself up. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot to explore with this, more than I expected going into it, and I was already kind of sold going into it. But yeah, I think this is really gonna be something special. So I recommend trying that demo before more opportunities to play this game arrive in the future. But yeah, that's my list of demos to recommend. I'd say go check them out if any of them caught your eye, especially a couple of them, because I don't know how long they're going to be around, and you don't want to miss it. But yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, have you played any of these demos? Feel free to leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you have any demos on Steam that you think I should know about, that you think other people should know about, definitely leave that in the comments as well. And if you enjoyed, or if you found something you're interested in, it really helps out if you leave a like and hit that subscribe button, so I can keep making these videos where I can promote and talk about these great indie games that I want everyone to play and more people to know about. Yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Goodbye!